Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DirtyHotte's Storm Slapper build. My first Hunter Arc 3.0 PvE build. What's it all about? It's a PvE focused build. It gives you an endless invisibility melee rotation. You one-hit champions once you set it up. This build is also super versatile because of the different weapon loadouts you can use. And it's the one I like to run for farming lost sectors. So solo stuff with champions. You can use it for any champion stuff. But let's talk about the subclass first, and I think we do that in-game. Are we in-game? Yes, we are in-game. So Arc Strider is the subclass. For that one, I like to run Gathering Storm, because then I can just throw that sticky thing away and do some damage with other means. That's always nice. Gambler's Dodge. Dodge to perform a death tumble, avoiding enemy attacks. If you dodge near enemies, you fully recharge your melee ability. That's one important part of the build. Then triple jump, because I most of the time miss my jumps, so it's good to have a third one. Combination blow. A quick strike that temporarily increases your melee damage when defeating a target, stacking 3 times. So we will stack the damage up. And it also fully refills your class ability energy and restores a small amount of health. So that class ability point is also important, ladies and gentlemen. I use the Arc Bolt Grenade just because it has a low cooldown, and I just throw it away as soon as it's done, because I don't really need it for that build. For the aspects. Lethal Current. After dodging your next melee attack, has an increased lunge range, jolts the target and decreases damage, and creates damaging aftershocks. Damaging any jolted target with melee attacks also blinds them. So you can already see the first synergy here, okay? Melee, dodge, and with dodging you also improve your melee even more. With the second aspect, that's Flow State. Defeating a jolted target makes you amplified, and we jolt targets with the melee. While you're amplified, your dodge recharges more quickly, you are more resilient while dodging, and your reload speed is greatly increased. So we will use our dodge all the time, and that also adds some survivability to it. I actually thought about running that with Tempest Strike, that build. But unfortunately, Tempest Strike is kind of wacky in regards of mods like Heavy Handed and Melee Kickstart. So that's why we don't use it for that build. For the Fragments, I like to run Spark of Resistance. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage and plus 10 strength. That's basically perfect for that build, okay? You get more resistance and you get the plus 10 strength, and because you will, most of the time you will be surrounded because you're in the midst of it. Then Spark of Wood. Finishers make you amplified. That's plus 10 recovery, and it's also, because of the exotic we're gonna use, we will also use finishers and get amplified that way as well, so that's awesome. Then we have Spark of Recharge. While critically wounded, your melee and grenade energy regenerates more quickly. I think that's basically, I don't know if we really need that, but it's okay. You could also use an arc weapon to blind folks. And then Spark of Discharge, Arc Fragment. Arc weapon final blows have a chance to create an Ionic Trace minus 10 strength. Then with that said, let's head over to the cheat sheet. Man, we put a lot of work in that one. And let's just summarize quickly what we talked about so far about the subclass. So the abilities, the aspects, and the fragments. And all of that, as I said, it's an endless invisibility melee rotation. So we already have the endless melee rotation covered, which brings us to the exotic to cover the invisibility part. And that's, yeah, it's obvious, it's Assassin's Cowl. Powered melee final blows, grant invisibility and restore a portion of your health and shields. Finishers and final blows against more powerful targets increase the duration of the invisibility and the amount of health and shields restored. Increase the duration of invisibility. That's actually if you kill those champions with a melee in Legendary Lost Sectors, that's a pretty long invisibility. So we got the exotic down and the subclass, and with the weapons, okay, this one is really made for solo farming lost sectors or solo champion stuff. What you want to run is the shotgun with 1-2 punch, okay? That's important. Because with 3 times combination blow, a 1-2 punch melee will basically one-hit champions in lost sectors most of the time. So the shotgun is basically a must. That's the one you always want to run, and the rest is up to what champion modifiers you need. So assault rifle or scout rifle for anti-barrier, that kind of depends. You could also use, you don't have to use that shotgun. You can use an energy shotgun and then use Wish Ender for shields, which got a buff this season and is really awesome. if you have to handle overload champions, I highly recommend Thunderlord, because that's awesome. So to cover a long story short, always cover one kind of champion by an exotic weapon that comes with an intrinistic anti-champion perk. Now let's quickly finish up the mods. I do that in game. Let's just talk about the mods, and then we will summarize that again on the cheat sheet. So Wheelie Wellmaker is obvious, and Harmonic Siphon, just to get some Orbs of Light. Then on the arms, as most of the time, melee kickstart, the anti-champion mod you need, and elemental charge in case you don't have a masterworked one, and in case you want to use unstoppable shotgun, just remove the minor resilience mod, at least in my case. That's also why I said always use an exotic with an intrinistic champion mod, so that you always can run at least one melee kickstart mod. Then on the chest, I like to run for this build melee damage resistance and concussive dampener, so you can get close to enemies. Also, that's also good against boss storms. And Well of Irons, so picking up an elemental arc well causes your next melee to deal increased damage on top of your 3 times combination blow and 1-2 punch. So that's a lot of melee damage going out. And this is why we one-hit champions with that build. And then the legs, that's basically double invigoration, because why not? And Well of Striking, because that gives you more melee energy back. And another important one on my class thingy, Outreach. Why I don't have a mod here? I don't know. I don't care. Outreach reduces melee cooldown when using your class ability. That's basically a no-brainer, but usually our dodge resets our melee cooldown anyways, but whatever. And then we have Heavy-Handed. Wild Charge with Light, regain half of your melee energy. That's awesome. That's pretty nice. And we will also run, because we use always the shotgun, while surrounded by multiple combatants, defeating a combatant with a fusion rifle, shotgun, sidearm, or submachine gun adds ammo for that weapon to your reserve. That's pretty nice. So you can use your shotgun non-stop most of the time, and you will only use your other weapons against champions. It's a non-stop melee invisibility build. What I especially like about that one, Vixen, is that because of the invisibility, you have so much time to actually summarize it up. So here's the mod overview. There's also the little summary what I talked about. This is the setup you want for melee energy and melee damage buff. And it's also the reason here with the champion mod why I said always cover one kind of champion by an exotic weapon, so you can have one melee kickstart mod, in case you basically fuck up the rotation and have to get your melee back the usual way. Shotgun ammo while surrounded, we talked about that, and I wrap it up with the stats. So the perfect one would be 100 resilience here, and the rest pretty balanced. But because Dirty is living on a budget, I have, I don't know, 60 resilience. The build still works. And this, ladies and gentlemen, this is a DirtyHotte's Stormslapper build, my favorite Arc 3.0 Hunter build so far. And I hope you tested and enjoy it, because I definitely did. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this little piece of content, and if you want to see more Destiny 2 stuff, especially builds, check the playlist to my left. And if you are more interested in what YouTube algorithm has in petto for you, then check the one below that playlist. If you like my stuff, please leave a like and help Mom's Basement grow. See you next time. DirtyHotte out.